Hello, everyone. Good morning to Paris and good afternoon in Taipei. We're very happy to be opening this online panel on as a result of the French VR showcase, Digital Common Sense in Taipei at ADA. We're very happy to be here all together, all the stakeholders who help us to bring this event a successful one. During the last 6 weeks, it was a challenge because it's the first time an event as such happening in Taipei, but it's also a fruitful one because we have received very positive feedback and all the warm supports from everyone, and we have been able to greet many audiences that never were very different from the stakeholders and the audiences we were in touch with, and that brings the goal of this event, because we wanted to bring VR quality and curated VR content to public. So today we're very happy to have all our partners online. So let me just quickly go through and introduce them one by one. We have Axel from UniFrance, and we have Laetitia from PXN. And also accompanying her, François Klein, who is a digital producer whose project was showcased during the French VR showcase, Jailbirds. And then we have Miss Alice Chen of Taika, and Mr. Leo Li of the Director of Global Business, who will be sharing with us later. And then finally, we have Nicolas from the French office in Taipei. Okay, and with me we have Xinrou, who is the director of ADA, and she's also the key person who makes this event happen. And then we have Xintong from Taipei Film Festival. She's one of the programmers of the XR section of Taipei Film Festival. And we're Stephanie would be joining us. She's on her way to the venue right now. Okay, before we begin, I will just go very quickly through how the panel will take place. First of all, we'll have all the 4 panelists to share with us very quickly what they do and what's their role in this exhibition. We will begin with UniFrance, following by PXN, and then Taika will be sharing with us what Taiwan has to offer to the world in VR, in immersive content. And then in the end, Nicolas will be talking about her role in Taipei, how he does the liaison and how he promotes French VR and vice versa. And then in the end, our partners from Taipei Film Festival and ADA will be raising questions to our panelists, following by their presentation and discussion. Now we have Stephanie, who will be joining us right now. So right now I would like to invite Axel to begin your sharing with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Hélène. Thank you. Good morning from France, everyone. And thank you, ETA, for the organization of all this. And thank you, all the partners of this beautiful showcase and operation for this very innovative way to promote and to show French XR content in Taipei. So let me introduce myself. I'm Axel Kofi. I'm the Deputy Executive Director of UniFrance. UniFrance is the organization in charge of promoting French film, TV, short films, and XR worldwide. So we are an organization gathering many professionals in France, so more or less 1,000 professionals from all those fields. And among them, we have some French XR producers and distributors and directors also. So our mission is to be on the markets, be in the festivals, support the distribution strategies, and support events like this one all around the world. So we do it for films, and we do it for now a couple of years on XR. So if I have to just give you the 3 main lines of our way to support worldwide these films and XR's projects. So our first way to do it is to collect data, inform and communicate on what means French XR worldwide. So we do two things. We collect every year data on the export value of our production, so French delegate productions. And we see that since we are doing this analysis, we see a growth year after year of the export value of French XR. And it's not the only way to perceive how international French XR is, because there are a lot also of co-productions, especially with Taiwan, which are not part of exports technically, but it's another way to be part of the international scene. And so we see from this data that the value of export comes from very different sources and very different way to distribute XR content, which is a reflection of the fact that XR, actually French creative XR, is very diverse in its ways to be distributed, and it's in its very, very artistic form, actually. So we collect this data. We collect also all the selections and the prices in international film and XR festivals. And so we communicate on this in France and worldwide in different languages, on the social networks and so on, to let people know how French XR can be successful in festivals. So this is the first and the core of what we do, because without that, without knowing who is distributed or shown where, we cannot work. The second way to promote French XR is to support festivals, markets, and so support French producers, French directors, to go to these events, to go to network events, to organize ourselves networking events. So we do it in most of the key festivals, and we are part in the US of the French Immersion Program, which does it along with other French partners such as the CNC, the French Institute, and the French Embassy in the US. And so in this way, we partner with a lot of events in France or worldwide to support this visibility and create events, panels like in Venice this September, things like these, cocktails to let professionals meet together and so on. And time to time, we organize French showcase or support French showcase like this one, because we want to show that there is a quantity and a diversity in French XR, and not just one by one, depending on their selection in festivals. And the last circle of our supporting schemes is to try to support distribution strategies, which is a little bit more difficult because XR content is very diverse in its way to be distributed. So we have different schemes to support producers or distributors to have initiatives to sell their work to platforms or to create events in some locations that are partners and so on. So, and we have adapted the French Immersion Program to new distribution models, especially regarding the platforms and the online distribution, which has been more and more important with the pandemics. So these are the three lines of our way to support French XR worldwide. And that's it for me. I leave the floor to my colleagues.
Now we would like to invite Laetitia from PXN. PXN is the Independent Digital Producers Association in France. Please, Laetitia.
Hello, thank you so much for the invitation. I will present you some slides to present the association and what we do for the sector. I hope you can see well what I'm showing you. So I'm very delighted to be invited here as part of Digital Common Sense. I represent PXN, an association of which I'm the general coordinator. PXN stands for Producer of Digital Experiences. It's an association that was created in 2015 and brings together more than 70 digital producers, French and independent. we have an important part of lobbying activities, but we're not a union, so our actions really distinguish from a union. The idea in creating our structure was to bring together producers of digital content. By digital, we mean a very wide range of projects. They are all created for native digital distribution, which includes pieces in virtual reality, augmented reality, independent video games, narrative projects for social media, digital series, etc. PXN is first and foremost a place of exchange and sharing for their members. So we organize working groups on issues that concern several members, and then our role as an association is to bring these issues to the attention of political authorities, of funders and of broadcasters. Thanks to the involvement of our member, we have decided to collaborate together inside of PXN instead of working each of them separately. In this showcase, we were contacted a few months ago by the VAhub and ETA teams who asked us to invent together digital common sense. And we were very happy of this invitation in collaboration with many partners, including UniFrance, the French Institute, and the French Bureau in Taipei, and more others, of course, including Taika. The 10 virtual reality works presented in this showcase were all produced by members of PXN. So I have invited here with me François Klein, who is a member of our association, so that he can, and also he has a project that was selected for digital common sense, and maybe he can present in his sense what is the role of a digital producer and how it's distinguished from a traditional producer.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you, Laetitia, for inviting me to share my experience. Yeah, so in a sense, a digital producer has the key element for a digital producer is a capacity to adapt to any kind of situation, and it's required a lot of knowledge, technical knowledge, because we work more and more in what we call hybrid production, mixing sometimes virtual reality and immersive theater, live immersive theater. We imply more and more in our production motion capture for actors. So everything is changing, and thanks, I would say, thanks to COVID-19, we had a quick acceleration of digital experience, especially with the development of some called metaverse. And regarding my experience, I come from television production. I worked a bit in cinema too, and things are really different. But what I learned from TV and cinema helps me a lot today. And during COVID, it was very great to be part of the PXN association, because sometimes we organize some meetup with other digital producers. It was very interesting to share the issue we faced during COVID, especially for a production like Jailbirds, who was shown at Digital Common Sense Showcase. Jailbirds was all produced under lockdown. It's an international co-production we did with between France and Belgium, and all the animation studios were on lockdown, so the animator worked from home, and they bring the work online, and we had to adapt the workflow and the pipeline of the production to find the good path in order to deliver the production. At the end, I think it led us to extend the production period to around 2 months more, because the work was a bit slower than it should have been. For animation, it was not that big issues, but when we had to work on sound and on the especially on the music we create for the movie, it was very difficult to not be in here with the composer in order to give his some info and the right direction. So everything was a bit longer, but it was interesting when we met up with the patient member to realize that we were not alone facing this situation. Other producers were in this kind of situation too, and it was a good opportunity to share some tips and opportunity some of us have found, and some help also between us. So there's a strong solidarity and connection. The digital production sector is a very, very little family, I would say. We know all of them, each other, and it's good to be together. And as Laetitia said, the lobbying aspect is very important because of the issue we face in our sector during a pandemic or everyday job. It's more efficient to rely on PXN to bring to upper level to governments or public institutions like CNC in France some issue or some topics that really matter for us, and bring the things to change or to get better for us instead of going one single every one of different producers to go alone to this institution. So being together and as a group is more structured, more efficient. I think I've said everything I had to present you the work we do with Space and digital producer. Maybe later, if you have some question, I'll be happy to.
Yes, for sure. I'm sure our partners in Taipei will have more specific question on your role as digital producers later. Thank you, Laetitia. Thank you, François. Now we would like to invite Ms. Alice Zhang, Vice President of TAICA, to talk for our partners in Paris to know more about what's happening in Taiwan. TAICA is in charge of promoting Taiwanese creative content as a whole, especially has a huge impact on the ecosystem, XR immersive content. So please.
Hello, everyone. Especially for our friends from France. I'm Alice, the Vice President from TAICA. And it's my pleasure to be here to talk about Taiwan immersive content and supporting system from TAICA. And we know XR content and the metaverse industry has been developing globally in recent years. And however, it's still a new area to be discovered by Taiwanese creators. It's why TAICA provides different kinds of supports to creators. Since TAICA was founded in 2019 as an important partner to the Ministry of Culture in Taiwan. And we work as an agency to support industrial development. So we have been working on integrating resources and building up a comprehensive ecosystem to support Taiwan's XR content creators. And I will show you our supporting system later. And this year, Taiwan VR projects set the nomination record at the Venice Film Festival. And 7 works have been selected for the festival program, and 5 works from TAICA. They are the Sick Rose, Samsara, and the Last Worker, and the Terrace and Beach, and Belém. And part of works are supported by Immersive Content Grant of TAICA. And this grant starts in 2020 and has supported 10 international projects, and that are international co-production or co-funding with foreign companies and artists. And the topics are very diverse, and the genre includes 360-degree film, digital arts, interactive games, etc. And among the above VR works, I would especially like to mention the following two domestic VR projects. That's Samsara and Sick Rose. Samsara is a VR film about reincarnation. The project was selected for 78th Venice VR Film Festival and won the Jury Award of South by Southwest and Best VR Story of Cannes XR competition. And the Sick Rose, we know, is the first stop-motion VR animation produced by international brand, we called it HTC Original, and local animation studio, Turn Rhino Studio. This project shows the value of combining Taiwan traditional handicraft with innovative technology. And then I will tell you the advantage of Taiwanese immersive content. The first one, I think it is Taiwan is known for our freedom in content creation and our cultural diversity. Moreover, Taiwan is good co-production partner for not only TV and film production, but also XR projects in Asia with a friendly environment policy and professional talents. And the second one is the ecosystem. The ecosystem in Taiwan is complete and mature in both the content and technology industry. This can be the foundation leveraged by XR productions. So the last one, I think, is the talents who can connect and develop diverse and important projects with international co-production. So with this advantage, Taika next step is to create a unified ecosystem for XR, which serve as a platform for content creators and technology innovators to work hand in hand for more possibility in XR creation. And in addition, I would like to say that the content can be the strongest showcase for cutting-edge technology applications, and this benefits both sides. And Taika's mission is to make them aware of the opportunities in the world. In the future, with this unified ecosystem, could be the best incentive for international talents and companies to come to Taiwan to find contents and technology partner for future immersive content operation. And then for above goals, we design a supporting system with industries. There are 4 stages to support the immersive content. From the beginning is integration of ideas. We provide lectures and workshops. We create the new storytelling methods and technology to create the works. After you have good ideas, we provide funding for prototypes, which encourage diverse ideas to be explored and tested. If your project have potential to market or can be proof of service or business model, Taika will provide a second stage of funding to help the project become a product. Then about the third stage, Taika provides the marketing resources to selected products by either showing the product in the international festival or in Taika's flagship event, Taiwan Creative Content Festival. And we are trying to increase the products exposure to the global market. Finally, if your team can find a sustainable business model from your service and product and wish to start your own company, we also provide a startup accelerator program. And among this supporting system, next, I would like to emphasize two international programs that are explain how TAICA invests in international cooperation for immersive content. That is talent development and immersive content grant. The talent development that we call the project name is the Taiwan France XR Day, is a unique approach to talent development. It is the program of strategic partnership. In addition, Immersive Content Grant is a 3-year program to support international co-funding and co-production of immersive content. It is hoped that this program may help content creators explore new ways to storytelling and explore new markets, as well as develop the immersive content's international ecosystem. And the last one, the slide, after showing the diverse immersive content invested by TAICA, let me introduce the TAICA also invest in distribution channel. The first one is IP Meetup. It is a platform that assembles all type of creative content from Taiwan. And the second one is a virtual distribution channel. This demonstration, we called it a 5G VR cloud. The purpose of this project is to solve the problem that VR content is not accessible to most customers. And also the content creator can earn money. Therefore, TAICA leads this project and connect with the local telecom company, hardware vendors, the new operators, and content creators together to gather high quality VR content. And through the construction of the 5G network, we can stream high quality VR content from the cloud directly to our living room. So this project creates a new imagination of the future of entertainment life and the potential new business model to immersive content. So, okay, and the above is all my presentation. Thank you all for your listening. Thank you.
Ms. Chan. So far we have been able to learn about both France and Taiwan, what we are doing for promoting and enhancing the ecosystem of immersive VR content. Now, last but not the least, we would like to invite Nicolas. Without him, this event would never be possible. Thanks to him, he brought in the resources from Institut Français, from PXN, and of course, UniFrance. So, Nicolas, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Hélène, for this introduction. Thank you, Shinjo, VAhub, and all the partners involved on this project. So yeah, thank you also for giving us this opportunity to present our missions and to discuss French XR distribution and the future of French XR ecosystem. So yes, indeed, my mission is to promote French film, XR, and music in Taiwan, and to promote, to encourage and enhance cooperation between Taiwan and France in those fields. So before joining the French office, I used to be a new media producer and director for production companies and studios. as you know, before I joined the French office, the French office had already been involved in, had done an important job at bringing together French and Taiwanese XR ecosystems, in particular through a partnership between Kaohsiung Film Archive and Forum des Images, which consists both in allowing experts and talents to try to the other side, I mean, talents from Taiwan to go to travel to France and vice versa. And also that consists in a residence program that allows each year a VR creator to work to develop a VR prototype with the help of Taiwanese XR professionals. So this program was created in 2018 and was renewed for 2 more years at the beginning of 2021. So beyond this partnership, our missions in the field of XR are very diverse. We collect data also on French XR, on French Taiwanese XR and cooperation and co-productions. We sponsor co-organized XR programs organized by Taiwanese institutions or festivals, or that contribute to foster XR cooperation, like Taika's Taiwan France XR Day. Of course, we connect Taiwanese and French XR professionals and support them in their research of fundings, and we discuss their funding strategy and help them getting funds sometimes for their project. Sometimes we go so far as to raising awareness of Taiwanese authorities when there's a project that clearly deserves it in our opinion. We of course communicate when project holders have important milestones, like the release of a project, of a VR project on a platform, the selection in a festival, etc. So, for example, this year, so yes, this year the Digital Common Sense one was obviously one of our main mission, one of the main program we've been working on in the field of XR. So we not only financed it, thank you, Hélène, for acknowledging it, but also helped bringing together the different players involved, PXN, Unifrance, Institut Français, etc. And we also renewed our partnership with Taipei Film Festival and Kaohsiung Film Festivals for their XR programs. So Taipei's XR Frontline and Kaohsiung's XR Dreamland. We highlighted 2 French Taiwanese XR co-productions at TCCF recently, the Starry Sand Beach and Bedlam. And we also accompanied the 2 last the last laureate of the Kaohsiung VR residency and the 2021 laureate who will do his residency in 2022. So I'm talking of the French director Mathieu Prada. We currently accompany both of these projects in their research of fundings. So that will be all on my end, and I look forward to discussing about the perspectives on the future of the French XR exports
thank you, Nicola. So we will now invite the discussants to ask their questions. We will have Taipei Film Festival to go ahead first, and then Ada after. So please just group your question, and if you have a designated panelist that you want to raise the question to, just say, "Dear PXN, I would like to know." Dear UniFriends. Okay, then we'll let PXN go ahead and answer together, and then UniFriends to answer, so we won't be lost in communication. And to Taika or to French office in Taipei as well. Okay. So, Stephanie.
Hello, I'm Stephanie. I'm very happy to be here to raise some questions. First of all, I would like to ask Axel about, you mentioned that UniFrance has a special part to support distribution. So I'm very curious, how do you support, especially about immersive content distribution? This is the first question. And my second question is more general. I want to ask all of you that for the past 2 years, what have you observed about the trends in immersive content creation, whether it's from France or co-production, whether like interaction, animation, how do you tell the story and immersive content? Yes.
Xinrou from Ada, do you? Yes.
Hello, I have a question to Axel from UniFrance. Is that because the VR and XR content is developed into multiple forms, especially allow the audience to interact a lot with the 6-stop design. And so the complication of the LBE design, location-based entertainment, is very complicated. And I wonder how would you like to support with this kind of VR exhibition, because they are unpredictable, as very unpredictable in some way. And another question for Leticia from PXN. Because the circle of the production VR is getting longer, for example, at least 3 years or more years. So, for example, how would you support, or how would you observe, how would you collect the situation month by month or season by season about what they need? So you could give exactly what they need by now or next year. So I have 2 questions for you too. Thank you.
Okay, so maybe Leticia wanna go ahead and, because there was this question from Xinrou about the very long cycle of digital production. Well, as association, as also I think the question addressed to François, how would you overcome the long period of production, you know, psychologically, financially, resources-wise, it's very time-consuming. How would you see that? And then from Stephanie was your general observation about, especially with the, this is my own question actually, the impact of the pandemic. How do you see the, I mean, also emerging of immersive and XR content, what do you see the different storytellings, and what are the trends? Yeah.
Thank you very much for these interesting questions. So I will start by answering on how we as PXN can help our members when their production cycle is getting longer and longer. I would say, so as I said before, we reunite digital producers in a very wide range of activities. So there is not one single pattern in their production cycle. So in PXN, I wouldn't say that we will help them month after month in their production, but more we try to structure the whole area of digital production. And so how can we help structuring that? This is by making co-production, so by making our producers in relation with international producers so that they can build partnership, which will maybe make their production go faster because they will have more fund or more exchanges all around the world. Also, what we do in PXN, as I said, we have work groups who will work on one particular issue. So for example, the production cycle getting longer is one issue. So we will get together, talk about that, and then we can use PXN as a way to talk directly to the funders, the CNC, the French Institute, all the partners that structure this sector, so that we can tell them, okay, here is one issue that we face. How can we work together in simplifying the production pattern? This is what I can see from the PXN point of view. But maybe François, you want to add something as a producer as to what PXN brings you, or how do you live this situation? We can hear you.
Sorry, my mic was mute. What could I add? I will go to the question about the long period. If we take the example of Jailbirds, from the time we wrote down the script and the time we released the first chapter of the story, 5 years has passed. So of course we don't have one, we have many production ongoing. Some projects are quicker to go than other. Some are too ambitious at the time they are written. For instance, that was the case for Jailbirds. We wrote a 6 degrees of freedom experience with camera movements and director point of view at a time where the only VR experience was 360 video of roller coaster. So the market was not ready yet for this kind of production. So sometimes you put just aside some story and you continue to work on it. And thanks to PXN, we can share the different experience we had, and for instance, I will talk for myself. I'm just a producer. I'm not a studio, for instance. I don't have dozens of people working on CGI and stuff like this. I work with other studios that are also part of PXN. So this is the community of professionals. It's not only producers, it's also all the production chain that are gathered in PXN, and together we can address some specific issues, specific needs. And on the long-term relationship, it's very useful. Now regarding the trends, in the past 2 years, what I see is that the audience is going more and more for more social experience. That means experience that they can live and experiment together and where they can share moments. Not that much standalone experience. And the most difficult things with the virtual reality, for instance, is that the medium itself, it's an individual medium. So the things we have to deal today is how to create story, to create universe for the audience, where they can share a moment, where audience can be together and share moments through individual mediums, either if they are alone at home or together in a venue. Maybe it can be both. And there's so many things, so many ground to explore around these topics. And this is what we try to work on these past 2 years. And I think we go more and more on these topics in the coming years. And the thing that people are caring for going back to venues more and more, because not everyone has a headset at home yet. The market is not that big already. And the venues are still a very good opportunity to experiment together and live some experience you cannot do online or individually. Another topics that I faced working with Taiwan, for instance, sometimes it can be challenging, especially for the grants we can have. For instance, in France, we used to have a long time of period when you receive a grant. When you apply for a grant, sometimes you have almost 2 months after your grant is decide if you get it or not. And then you have to wait a little bit for receiving the money, while in Taiwan, it's very quick. And sometimes it can be challenging to work with both situations. But I think working more and more between France and Taiwan, we find middle ground, and we achieved some interesting project. For instance, what Taika has support with Bedlam projects and all the 5G development. It's a very promising technology. And I hope it will lead the future of content production for online and physical experience. Yeah, I think there's some promising opportunity that can occur, and especially co-production and collaboration between producer and studio from Taiwan and producer and studio from France. And Taika can be very an interesting platform for everyone on this. Sorry,
I would also like to add something in the topic that we observed and in the changing of the production that we observed these past 2 years. I completely agree with you, Francois, that people are looking for more social experiences, and they won't go out of their house if it's to see something that they could have seen online. So that's why we observe really installative experiences, or with a personal link, with a human contact, or with a scenography that is really exceptional. And also, I think that this period, which was very bad for all the cultural sector, still gave to the producers, who are always so busy going on with production, it gave them some time to just think about what they want to say and how they want to say it. And so I observed some companies change topics or go with more intimate production, maybe, or also I observed some companies who explored other ways of immersion, not only the VR immersion, but also, for example, sound immersion took a lot of place, I think, during this period. So yeah, this is the changes that we are seeing now, and also, of course, a lot of international partnership now that we are hopefully going out of this period. So we observed a new residency, for example, in the United States, in Italy, of course, all the link that we have with the U in Taipei. So yeah, this is all the international proposition that I see emerging from all over the place, and which makes the producer travel again around the world.
Thank you, Laetitia. Thank you, François. Just to wrap up, what we learned from PXN is that first of all, the social experiences in XR creation have become more and more important, also because of the pandemic situation. And then the next normal I think the XR creators are ready for the next normal, and the challenges are more or less there, but we can see that there's a reaction to that, and it also helps. And then I think the existence, the organization of PXN helps a lot in this creative industry, immersive, because we're all myself as a producer, it's very important to work with different teams, and the PXN grouping helps a lot in just not all the studios can always have all the talents together, but by working individually, separately, that also contributes to creating new content. And okay, so questions to UniFriends very quickly. I just recap. What are your support for distribution of immersive content? I think that's a very interesting question also for Taika to hear about what Paris does for distribution of immersive content. And that goes to the question from Xinrou that we all know showcasing the VR content. It doesn't just render film, render cinema and all the seats, all the tickets. It also comes with a package of technical readiness, the complexity of the technical support of that. How would you do that internationally? What are your challenges? What are your opportunities? How are you helping your members to go further with the distribution also? And then again, from your promoting French XR content, what do you see from your point of view, the trends? Besides the social VR and from the cinema point of view, do you have anything to share with us? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So it's true that the first and the second question comes together because our schemes kind of answer both at the same time. So very quickly, we have 2 schemes open to French professionals. And when I say French professionals, it can be French producers and distributors because many projects are distributed by their producers themselves. And this scheme is both concerns actually XR projects and short films. It's just in general, but it works for both. So we have kind of automatic scheme, which is a support, a kind of a grant to the producer or the distributor that is given depending of a certain numbers of points that they generate if their project is selected in festivals, wins prize, or is sold in a certain number of territories or to a certain number of local partners. So we have criteria, and it opens the right to ask for a grant. And this grant is supposed, and we verify that, to reimburse promoting expenses. So it can be technical expenses, subtitlings for short films. So in VR, subtitling is kind of rare and difficult to adapt for this format. But so we have certain kind of promotional expenses that can justify the reimbursement of the expenses by the producer. So this is one grant. And we have another kind of grant, which is called the initiative grant, which is a little higher and destined to producers who develop a special project with a local partner. So it's very open, but it's supposed to help a promotion event organized by the producer or the distributor himself, and not within a festival that already exists or in a selection of a market and so on. So it's very open. It is for them to justify and explain what is the distribution strategy behind this operation. And the third scheme, which is not our scheme, but the French immersion scheme, was the adaptation of the French immersion scheme, which is supporting digital distribution strategies and digital distribution assets that are produced by the producer or the distributors to promote the release, commercial release of their projects on the platforms. So it can be trailers, it can be influencers that talk about the programs and so on. So it's open. But this was an adaptation of the normal scheme during the pandemic, and we are discussing of maintaining it. But it's a discussion that needs to go with the budget of the schemes, of course. So it goes with the second question, which is about how do we tackle the question of LBE projects and the costs it generates and all the technical specificities. So because we usually don't distribute ourselves, so we push and support with our schemes and with the travel grants that we also have to support filmmakers to go to festivals. We are like depending on the festival's organization or the cultural institution organization that develop the projects with the distributor. So this is kind of their source, but we, through the grants, support these special costs. And it's true that it's very costly. And there is a nice job that is done not by ourselves, but I try to mention it as much as I can, by the French Institute in Paris. They have developed a catalog of the French VR creation with all the technical information along with just the presentation of the film themselves and the creators to support and help locations, museums, libraries, and all the partners that could invite these programs to be showcased in their spaces to facilitate the information of what they need, especially what are they need technically and so on. So this is not financial, but it's a way to make it more simple to access to these projects that otherwise are quite complicated to showcase. And regarding the question on the trends that we see, I mean, French creative XR was very diverse before the pandemic, and it's still very diverse in the shapes it can take. I think there was a trend before the pandemic to say that it has to be more and more LBE, more and more physically embodying, and that immersion had to be very physical, and it's still very relevant, but it had to face the reality of showing this kind of projects during the pandemics and showing it during the festivals and then distributing it in the locations that are still not all open all around the world. So in the meantime, I guess many producers had to adapt their previous works or their current in-progress works and to develop multi-versions of their work with sometimes a very prime experience that is LBE with multi-users and room scale and 6DoF and so on, and a much simpler version that can be distributed through platforms or more simply in a single user way. And so we had the example last year with Young Man at Home, which won a prize in Venice and which had 3 or 4 versions, including a short film. So, and it's important that creators think about it from the beginning, so it can make the different versions more relevant and not only versionings of the same projects with no added value to go to different versions. And one other trend is that we see that it's more and more, it was already, but it's more and more diverse in its genre. And so XR is kind of a box term, but it goes to, of course, fiction, of course, a lot of animation XR and more. And so we see that it goes to festivals that are dedicated to animations and that open to animation VR. A lot of documentaries also. We're going to ITFA in Amsterdam by the end of the week, and it's a very important part of ITFA. Same thing for animation with the Annecy Film Festival, which is film, long features, and XR films. So we see that the genres and the communities it brings to it is more and more diverse. And of course, I don't mention performing arts or contemporary arts. And we see that Blancali project, Le Bal de Paris, was one trend that will still be developing and not the only one, but one kind of way to use VR as a tool to express artistic visions. So yeah, does it answer the question enough, or do you?
We are also very happy to hear that you have a very structural way of helping immersive content creators to distribute their content outside of France. And of course, the pandemic situation hasn't been much helpful, but I think gradually we'll be able to go back to the normal or the next normal or the new normal. And then all the experiences can be live again. So after hearing so many sharing from Paris, I don't know if Leo from Taika, you have any specific questions to our partners in Paris? Like,
no,
do you,
I don't have questions.
do you want to know when Alex mentioned in the beginning of his presentation, how much is the turnover of
if you agree to share, then I would love to know.
Yeah, actually, remember in the beginning of your presentation, you talk about you have amount of the not the turnover, but the amount that the French immersive content has been able to contribute to.
Yes, we are. We published last year in December the charts about 2019, and because it's long to collect, we have to go through declarations of the producers, the distributors. It's a long treatment of the information, and it's not perfect because it's declarative, so it can be. It's not official INSEE version, but it's very important to see these figures because it shows trends. And so we are about to publish in the following weeks the charts about 2020. So, but what lacks in these charts is the value of co-production, because as mentioned, French XR is very much from the beginning international. There are many international partnerships. We attract a lot of foreign talents. I mean, not we, but the French producer, they attract a lot of, also they bring foreign partners, so they build co-productions, and this is the kind of international value that it will bring to the French scene that is not measured by these figures. It's only the revenues from the sales that happen afterwards. But yeah, so we will. I will send you some links when the figures from 2020 are published.
Thank you so much. I think it's very important for all, not just creators, but for all ecosystem that having a commercial and economic sense of for all these content, it helps a great deal for putting forward the ecosystem. So we're about to finishing the panel, but before that, I would like to invite Nicolas to share with us about, because the reason why we chose France as our first edition of Digital Common Sense is that we observed France as being upfront in an international stage that has been promoting immersive XR content very, if I may, aggressively. And so Nicolas, could you share us with the general policy guidance from France, how you see the future of immersive content? Thank you.
I'm not 100% sure I understood your question, but as for political, I mean, the recent French public policies in the field of XR, I can tell you that recently on October 21st, our Minister of Culture has announced 600 million euros for immersive creation, immersive technologies, renewal of the shooting infrastructure and content production studios. So there is definitely a political will to invest in that field, and I guess it has something to do with the massive investments that have been announced previously by Epic and Facebook. So as each and everyone in this field, I'm eager to see what are going to be the consequences of these moves, because I guess they're going to have important consequences on as for VR, French VR creation and Taiwanese VR creation, and as for co-productions. So that's my first feeling about this.
Thank you,
Does
Nico.
that answer your question?
Yeah. I mean, this was going to wrap up the panel by saying that we see the synergies are there both from France and Taiwan to making the ecosystem of immersive content creation and the distribution more promising one. And the French VR showcase is the outcome of such collaboration and long-term relationship between the two sides. So we're very happy that today we can bring everyone here to share with us from their own organization and from their experiences. So thank you all again. We learned a lot today, and we hope we'll be seeing each other very soon again. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.